Is it something I can see? Is it something I can...
Hello everyone, I'm Heejay Choi and you're listening to Heejay's Book Talk on Cool FM. Today we'll be having a very special guest joining us to talk about our book of the day, One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, first published in 1962 and written by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. So to start off the show, I'll introduce you to our guest of honor, Mr. Alexander Solzhenitsyn himself.
Hello, it's great to meet you.
No, it's my pleasure. Alright, so anyway, since you've written this book, I'm sure that you know the plot better than anyone else. For the people who haven't read it yet, could you please tell them about the basic information?
Alright, Heejay, as obvious from the title, the story describes the day of Ivan Denisovich Shukov, a dutiful Russian soldier who is sentenced to 10 years in a Siberian labor camp. It depicts on the hardships, the miseries that he experienced at the brutal and morbid camp. The environment is very morose and squalid here, no freedom to voice one's idea, scarcely any food and no happiness whatsoever. Unlike normal prisoners though, Ivan is a strong individual who managed to keep his humanity and sanity, even in the midst of intolerable difficulties which he goes through at camp. His strength to fight through the hardship can be seen as the theme of this book.
Wow, sounds like an intriguing novel to read. Now that the listeners are aware of what your book is about, please tell them more about the characters.
Of course, so the protagonist of this novel is Ivan Denisovich, and to describe him more specifically, I would have to say that he is very much like a tree, firm, unwavering, and strong. No matter how unbearable the condition at camp is, he does not let his fear and anxiety, as well as the humanizing ways of the camp, get to him. With a strong and positive outlook towards life, he managed to survive. His intensity in living, eating, and working puts him in control of his world.
While I was reading about Ivan, I was amazed beyond belief. I mean, it's remarkable to see that he remains unadulterated by the harsh ways of the camp for 8 years. Now, when I read the novel, I saw that Tyrin, one of the many major characters in the book, is a bit similar to Ivan in a different way though.
Yes, Tyrin, a foreman at the labor camp, is tough like Ivan. He is described as a rather more distant and a terrifying authority figure, though, but he transforms into a more sympathetic character when he narrates his life history. Tyrin's shift from an imposing authoritarian to an accessible comrade shows the humanity hidden deep within even the fiercest Soviet law enforcers. Other than Ivan and Tyrin, there are so many more major characters in this book, but I have to say that my favorites are these two.
Yes, thank you, and right after the break, we'll be back with Mr. Solzhenitsyn and calls from our listeners.
And my signal anymore.
Welcome back to Heejay's Book Talk. It's currently 8 p.m. and starting from now, we'll be receiving calls from our listeners if they'd like to ask Mr. Solzhenitsyn some questions about the book. Alright, we've got a call already. Hello?
Hi. I'm Maggie and I got a question for Mr. Solzhenitsyn. There's a part in the book where Ivan takes off his hat before he eats at mealtime. Is there a special message hidden behind his action here?
Yes, Maggie, there is a special message hidden in this scene. In the cafeteria at the camp, the prisoners are not required to take off their hats before eating, but Ivan feels that civilized people remove their caps before eating, and therefore does so to assert his humanity. Ivan's attachment to this piece of civilized etiquette shows that the camp is not entirely successful at removing the prisoner's humanity.
Okay, we have time for one more call. Yes, hello? Hi, this is Jenny, but Mr. Shukov, I'd like to ask, I know that Ivan manages to remain unchanged and be himself throughout his years at the camp, but does he change in any way at all?
Very good questions. If you look at Ivan's dismissive attitude towards writing letters to his family, it shows how much he has changed in the last decade. He no longer feels close to his family, and very rarely even thinks about his wife and daughters. The fact that the family members are never named, while Alyosha and Tyrin, his fellow prisoners, are, shows that Ivan now feels more at home in the prison with his men of the 104th.
Wow, it's already the end of today's talk with Mr. Solzhenitsyn. It was great of you to come and explain to our listeners the specific details of your book.
No, it was my pleasure.
Okay, join us next time, and until then, have a great day.